Images that say nothing but preparation of America's pastime, and the images that paint the picture for plenty of downtime. The emotional roller coaster of ups and downs. Traveling and representing your Phillies from ballpark to beautiful ballpark around the baseball circuit, but realizing you're not in the cozy confines where Phillies fans call home. The experience of eating delicious ballpark treats, while others try and steal your joy. Big swings, big power, and big offensive production that brings the crowd to their feet, instead of the big swing that leaves you lost and brokenhearted. All season long, every foul ball could lead to a wonderful moment of a lifetime, or the moment when you are reminded why you are watching from the stands. When all the off-season work and diligent planning comes to fruition, and when all the planning was missing one very important part. The moment that sends everyone home happy with one swing, opposed to the moment the other dugout reaches victory at your expense. Good or bad, happy or sad, they are the experiences of a 6-month baseball journey. And the 134th season of Phillies baseball awaits us. You want to see somebody do an opening day celebration right? Well, come to Cincinnati, Ohio. For 97 years, they've had the Findlay Market Parade. It began this morning at 9 a.m. and it continued up until about 2 hours ago. That's right, the Claremont High School band had no school today because they were performing in a parade going through downtown Cincinnati. It is opening day 2016, the Reds and the Philadelphia Phillies. Now from outside to inside, they honored the Grand Master, the Grand Marshal of the parade, Lou Piniella, the former manager of the 1990 World Series champion Cincinnati Reds. And they also honored some of the servicemen and women and the managers. They gave a plaque not only to Pete Mackanin, but also to Brian Price, because managing opening day here in Cincinnati is a big deal. You get goosebumps when you see the teams being introduced for the first time, and then, of course, the national anthem. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Matt Stairs and Ben Davis. So excited to have baseball upon us again. It has been 6 months since the Phillies last played a regular season game. Opening day 2001 was your first in the big leagues. What is this about?
It's about stats and things that actually matter. I especially liked opening day for the simple fact that spring training was over. I didn't have to catch 9,000 bullpens a day. Stats mattered, and like you alluded to earlier, it is a long journey and one that you spend a lot of time with your teammates.
All right, so for you, Matt, I mean, obviously it took some time through the minor leagues for you to get your first opening day with the Oakland A's back in '96.
Well, it's a day you'll never forget. It's an honor to represent your team going into spring training. You know, you want to make the team, all of a sudden you're the top 25 guys. You're going north. You're going to play big league ball. It's a great honor to represent your team.
All right, speaking of a great honor, it's also a great honor to be in the starting lineup. And last year, Maikel Franco was not in the starting lineup for the Phils. He is this year, and he's probably going to be for quite some time.
Well, he'll be in there for quite some time because he's got a lot of confidence. He knows he's going to be in that lineup every day. And when you know you're in that ball hitting every day in the lineup, you have a lot of confidence, you relax, and that's why he's going to have a great year.
Well, he had a great year last year before the injury. He finished with 14 home runs. He had a fantastic spring. Now, Jeremy Hellickson makes his first ever opening day start.
A big thrill for him, knowing you're going to get the nod on opening day. Jeremy Hellickson, very good spring training. One thing I'd like to see him do today is get a little bit more fastball command. We know about the changeup. It's been so good for him, but his cutter was good. His breaking ball was, I think, a lot better than we anticipated, but the fastball command is going to be key for him today.
All right, so the final year of his contract that he signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks, he's 28 years old. He was the AL Rookie of the Year, the Gold Glove winner as well, and he got a chance to sit down with our own Greg Murphy about opening day.
Well, I think it's probably fair to say that getting the ball on opening day for you was a goal of yours. That goal has been accomplished. It all starts today. Take us through it. How excited are you?
I'm very excited. You know, like you said, it's I think it's a goal of every starting pitcher in the league to take the ball opening day. I've been a part of 5 of them now, and just standing out there on the line and just taking in that atmosphere and just looking out at the bullpen, just kind of, wishing and hoping one day that would be me, and it finally gonna happen. So I couldn't be more excited, and my family's excited. They'll all be there, so it's gonna be fun.
Have you allowed yourself to think about that moment when you get out on the mound for the first time, you pick up the rosin bag or pick up the baseball for the first time? Do you envision yourself taking it all in, or are you just going to be focused on throwing that first pitch?
No, I'm definitely going to take it all in. You never know how many chances you'll get to do that. So I'll definitely take it all in, and hopefully I get that first pitch over for a strike, and everything can be normal from there. But no, I'm definitely gonna stand around on the bullpen mound and look around and take it all in.
Well, you've had a couple of weeks to kind of get used to a new clubhouse, a new team, a new organization. That's what spring training is all about. Also getting your body ready to go for opening day. Where are you right now in terms of how you feel? And I mean, do you feel 100%? Are you exactly where you'd like to be?
Yeah, no, I feel great. Spring is probably one of my better springs I've had. Didn't really end the way I wanted. Walk home or single, but I definitely felt really good, and excited to get out there.
Everybody wants to know about this clubhouse because there are a lot of new faces, yours included. You've gotten a chance to be around these guys now. We're pretty clear on who the men are going to be in that clubhouse. How would you describe it, and how has everybody kind of come together at this point?
It's a great group of guys. It's a fun group, and there's so much talent and upside in there. Guys that got a year of experience last year. They're only going to be better this year, and then some of the guys that have that upside to get that experience this year. I definitely think we're going to surprise some people, and I'm happy to be a part of this group and this team.
You use the word experience, and that is a word that we've talked about a lot this year. You were brought here specifically because you have experience. You've been there before. Are you comfortable with that leadership role in this clubhouse?
Yeah, I am. I came up with a group of guys that, I could, David and James and, even Wade Davis over there, they kind of just, I remember, the questions I asked them, and, how helpful they were for me, my first couple of years. So just trying to bring that over here, and it's really easy. I mean, all these young guys are so mature and just ready to get out there and prove themselves. So it's been easy.
Well, it all starts right now. Good luck to you today.
Thank you very much.
Tom, back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. Yep, it all starts right now. It'll be Hellickson against Iglesias, the starting pitchers for today's ballgame. The Phils and the Reds, the lineups at first pitch when we return to Cincinnati. Iglesias. Let's take a look at the Phillies lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Hernandez, Ryan Howard, Carlos Ruiz, and Cedric Hunter, who has made the Phillies opening day roster and is starting out in left field. Peter Borges bats 7th, Freddie Galvis 8th, and Jeremy Hellickson will bat 9th. And they will face the right-hander Raisel Iglesias, who last year came up and pitched for the Reds, was 3-7 with a 4.15 ERA. And here he is, just several years from defecting from Cuba. He is the starting pitcher today, Ben, for the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, 26-year-old Raisel Iglesias. Kind of reminds you of El Duque. For those who remember, of pitched for the Yankees. He's a 4-pitch pitcher. Fastball, slider, change, and he'll throw from any angle. And he had a very good ERA here at Great American Ballpark.
2016 season is underway, and Cesar Hernandez fouls the first pitch back. Forget about the butterflies. He's hacking at pitch number 1. Cesar had a good spring. Last year hit .272. Pete Mackanin told us last week he would be the leadoff hitter to start. Next pitch is inside. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. He spent 35 games as the leadoff hitter in 2015. Hit .239. Out towards center field. That's pretty well struck. Hamilton's got great speed going back. It's over his head and a 1-hop over the wall. And Cesar Hernandez, who had 20 doubles a season ago, starts 2016 with double number 1.
There goes a no-hitter.
Well, that's an absolute missile. Nice to see him pick right up from spring training where he was swinging the bat really well. Fastball out over the middle of the plate. I don't care how fast you can run in the outfield. You're not running down the ball hit that hard.
Particularly when you play that shallow.
Yeah.
Hamilton plays pretty shallow. So Cesar's in scoring position. All right, so we talked all spring long about fundamentals, about getting the runner over and then in with less than 2 outs, and the Phillies are presented with that right out of the chute with Odubel Herrera up. Odubel swings at the first pitch and fouls it down the left field line. No balls and 1 strike.
It would be nice to move him, but you still don't want to just give yourself up totally. You still want to see maybe you can trade places with Cesar Hernandez out at second base. Instead of just giving yourself up and rolling one over, drive him in.
That's a great point.
Especially in the first inning. He's already in scoring position.
It's usually with 2 strikes is when you back off your swing and then you try to make the contact on the ground to the right side.
Oh, 1 pitch is a broken bat looper down the left field line, and that'll go foul. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Umpires for this afternoon's ball game. The crew chief is Bill Miller. He's behind home plate. Tony Randazzo's at first. Ryan Knight is at second, and Todd Tishner is around at third. There's 162 games in a Major League Baseball season, but only 1 opening day. And if you're a home plate umpire today, that traditionally means you are the crew chief. So this is your crew. You are in charge, and I'm sure they probably feel the same way as the players do about getting things started.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Spring training for what, 35 days. Be glad to get up here. Just like a ball player, it's a true honor to be a home plate umpire for opening day.
A little disappointed though that Tom Hallion's not here. I got so used to him calling balls and strikes. No balls and 2 strikes to Odubel Herrera with a runner at second. And he stays alive, taps it foul. Odubel last year did most of his damage with the first pitch of his at-bats. In fact, he had 347 with the first pitch. But then as the year got on, he got better with 2 strikes, sort of shortening up his swing. And Pete Mackanin thinks that the seed that was planted last year is going to blossom into a batting title at some point for Odubel Herrera. Fouls it back, stays alive.
And what I like about the at-bats that he had last year that you just alluded to, Tom, was that he was doing it against righties and lefties. There were some tough lefties out on the mound last year, and he just kept fighting and battling.
He also got better as the year went on. Looking at his numbers from a season ago, his last 2 months is when he really put some at-bats together. He had 66 hits in his last 2 months of games. Again, stays alive, fouls another one back. It remains 0-2, and Mesoraco is going to go out and talk to Iglesias. All right, men, it's time for the Nissan keys to the ball game.
Well, key number 1, Phillies hitters, same approach as spring training, meaning you get a pitch, you drive it, take your walks, be patient hitters.
And Jeremy Hellickson, fastball command. We saw him struggle a little bit in spring training with that fastball. That we know the changeup and the breaking ball was there. Just need to zero in on that heater.
Mesoraco went out and had a conversation with Iglesias. They may have switched the signs up a little bit because there have been a number of pitches thrown with the runner at second base. As Odubel's trying to stay alive here and get a run home. And he taps another one foul. Mesoraco can't hang on. Today's Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Hank Martin of Myerstown, PA. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game, and Big Hank's going to win $100.
Good luck, Hank. Boy, it's good to be back.
Murph is slow on the trigger, though. He didn't acknowledge your good luck, Hank.
No, he didn't.
No balls, 2 strikes to Herrera. Hernandez led off with a double. And Odubel loses the battle. He strikes out. And there's one away. It looked like he just went after him with a fastball there.
He had quite a few pitches to hit 0-2, and that ball's right down the middle.
So one away, and here's Maikel Franco. Talked about Franco in the open. Coming off a fantastic spring in which he had 9 home runs, 11 counting the 2 games against the Futures, but 9 officially after hitting 14 last year with 50 runs batted in. First pitch is outside, 1 ball, no strikes.
The thing I absolutely love is that Maikel Franco has been swinging the bat really well. It's amazing how many times he goes into a 2-0 count. Because guys are trying to be so careful with the first pitch, throwing it low and away, up and in, whatever it is. Now all of a sudden they got to be really careful with the second pitch. Next thing you know, you're back in the 2-0 count.
That one's in the air to left field. It's pretty well hit. Going back on it is Duvall. He may have room, and he does, right at the edge of the track. And Hernandez will have to stay at second base. So 2 outs here in the first. As Iglesias is trying to brush aside some butterflies and get through what started out to be a difficult first inning.
I think the ball just got in on Maikel just enough where he couldn't drive it out the ballpark.
Well, that'll leave it for Ryan Howard, who gets the start here this afternoon. Pete Mackanin said the other day that he thought that Howard would start opening day, righty or lefty. And he said he thinks it's going to be the same when the Phillies return home next Monday. He said out of respect for Ryan and Carlos Ruiz, he felt like they would be in the opening day lineup. And Howard rolls over on the first pitch. Joey Votto's got it, and Iglesias works out of the top of the first inning. So the Phils get a leadoff double and do not score. They leave one in scoring position at the end of the top of the first. The Phillies nothing, and the Reds coming up. The first, Jeremy Hellickson out on the mound warming up. Let's take a look at the Reds starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. It'll be Cozart, Suarez, and Votto, followed by Brandon Phillips, Jay Bruce, and Devin Mesoraco. And the bottom third of Duvall, Iglesias. Yes, the pitcher is batting eighth. That's what Brian Price normally does. And then Billy Hamilton. They will face Phillies right-hander Jeremy Hellickson, 28 years old, out of Des Moines, Iowa. As he told Murph, he's got a lot of family and friends who are in town for this opener. Those are his numbers a season ago with the Arizona Diamondbacks, who the Phillies acquired him from this past offseason.
Very important to throw first pitch strikes for him. He's established a good fastball. You can always rely on that changeup. You see the scouting report. He's a 4-pitch pitcher. Average fastball about 90.1 miles an hour. And righties in 2015 hit a .167 versus his curveball.
Well, the first batter he'll face is Zach Cozart. The Phillies have the overshift on against Cozart. Well, these guys are coming out. Both teams just hacking at the first pitch.
I always thought there was a tradition, like the first pitch of the game, you take it, they throw the ball out, and all of a sudden you go back in, you're down on the hole 0-1. Caesar said, nope, I'm hacking.
Matt, this is not your father's baseball anymore. No balls and one strike to Cozart. But you're right. That usually is a tradition.
Yeah, it's usually the stat you take, throw it out, here we go. Game on.
Well, there's the overshift we were talking about with the Phillies. We saw them do that during spring training, and they will from time to time, particularly with right-handers up. It's a little different than what we're used to seeing with three infielders on the left side. And Cozart shoots it down the right field line. It's a fair ball going to the corner. Borges gets to it quickly, but Cozart's going to pull into second base. And he has a leadoff double here in the bottom of the first. So each team trades leadoff doubles in their half of the first. The Phillies were not able to get Hernandez home. And let's see what the Reds do in the bottom of the first.
Fastball up and away, does a nice job. Doesn't matter if you had the shift on or not, no one was catching that ball. Not very often you see a leadoff hitter, a right-handed leadoff hitter, have a shift on you early in the game, or ever, really.
That'll bring Eugenio Suarez to the plate. He was acquired before last year from the Detroit Tigers organization. And he actually came up when Cozart was out with his knee injury last season. Suarez, who's a shortstop by trade, filled in and hit .280 with 13 home runs and 48 runs batted in as the shortstop. But when the Reds traded Todd Frazier to the Chicago White Sox, that opened up a void over at third, and Suarez, who's only played 10 games during his professional career as a third baseman, Brian Price gave him a call and said, hey man, we want you to play the hot corner. One ball, one strike to Suarez. Outside, 2-1.
You see Hellickson going with a slide step. Cozart can run, but not like Billy Hamilton, but still going with a slide step.
Over to the left side, Cozart's going to travel over to third. The ball is not hit all that hard, and the ball is off the glove of Ryan Howard, and Cozart's coming home, and he will score. That should be an E3.
It's definitely a ball that I think Ryan Howard could have handled. But give Cozart credit. That's a very good read off the bat, to be able just to get to third base. Take a look here. You see Freddie coming up and firing. I would think that would be.
Yeah, they have scored an E3. Sometimes Ryan gets into this habit where he tries to catch the ball two-handed. And I think sometimes that gets him into an awkward spot, and it looked like it got him into an awkward spot there.
He sometimes he does try to catch the ball with two hands, but the key for a first baseman is that front foot has to go towards the ball where it's coming from. And Ryan kind of steps in the bucket, so now all of a sudden your stretch is a little shorter, and which causes you to hit the ball off the end of the glove.
So no RBI for Suarez, but the Reds take a 1-0 lead here at the bottom of the first. Joey Votto, who last year had 143 walks, which was tops in the National League, and a .459 on-base percentage, which was seconds.
It's amazing.
The fact that it was .459 or the fact that he was second?
That he was second. And the walks.
Which I don't think Cincinnati is real happy with, because there's a lot of times he gets in a hitter's count, he doesn't swing, and all of a sudden he does walk after a bit. You're hitting third. I love the walks, but playing in a small ballpark, you need to open up your zone a little bit and start driving the ball, being a three-hole hitter and being such a good hitter that Joey Votto is.
Yeah, you saw where he is among active hitters as far as his average goes at .311, fifth in baseball. Chops that one foul.
He's a hard-hitting Canuck, eh, Matt? It's something that Joey Votto does that you don't see a lot of players do anymore, is how much he chokes up on the bat. Very tight to the plate, but he really gets off that bottom of the bat.
Over to first base, Suarez is back. He stole 4 bags last year.
And also the thing about Joey Votto is that with fastballs thrown inside, he doesn't try to put the ball in play, he tries to foul him off. Takes a little different swing, he'll drop the barrel. You don't want to teach it, but it works for him now.
Pulls it foul again. It remains no balls and 2 strikes. His career on-base percentage, he's the only one actively in baseball that has a on-base percentage that's over .400. Miguel Cabrera kind of slacked off last year, so he fell under .400.
And it's well over .400.
Yeah.
I mean, .423.
Got him. Tied him up inside, and Hellickson picks up his first strikeout of the afternoon. And one away. This week only, T-Mobile customers can get a free season-long subscription to MLB.TV Premium. Go to T-Mobile.com/MLB to sign up now and catch every moment on America's fastest-growing LTE network. All right, Ben, we'll remind you to sign up at some point in the next few days.
All right, son.
Well, Brandon Phillips is now the batter. There was a point this past offseason where Brandon Phillips and Jay Bruce were both thought to have been traded by the Cincinnati Reds. Phillips loops one foul up the first base line.
Phillips going to Washington.
Correct.
Bruce going to Toronto.
Correct. Phillips declined the trade to Washington because they would not pick up his option. Those are according to reports. And Jay Bruce, it was a 3-way deal with Toronto, and somebody in the deal, nothing was ever confirmed, but somebody in the deal failed their physical, or at least the medical reports were not what the team wanted. Good play by Ruiz, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. I have to say, Hellickson's throwing more off-speed pitches or breaking balls today than I think we saw during spring training.
Well, in spring training, he threw a lot of changeups. He pitched basically backwards. Usually, he pitched like an American League pitcher. Usually,
Yes.
you get a 1-0, you're getting a heater, he would throw a changeup. You get 0-2 or 0-1, he would throw a fastball. So he's kind of pitching a little backwards right now, and it's going from spring training where he could not pound the strike zone with his fastball. He didn't feel comfortable with it yet.
High fly ball, left center field. Cedric Hunter is called off by Odubel Herrera. And there are 2 outs.
But he was able to get back in counts with the changeup and the breaking ball. It's one thing just to throw it, but to be able to get back in counts when you're behind, very, very helpful.
Well, we do know that this is going to be an unearned run that'll be charged to his line. And I believe Hellickson is looking for some rosin. And the bat boy will bring the rosin out to the mounds.
Opening day for bat boys too, Tom.
That's exactly right, Ben. Not all of them were in spring training, so you have to expect the first few days there'll be some glitches. Well, it is a beautiful day here in Cincinnati. It was gorgeous earlier today. Temperature at game time 50 degrees, mostly sunny, slight breeze.
Great hitting weather.
Now, we cannot guarantee the weather's going to be this way for the rest of the week, just so everybody knows, but at least for opening day, it's nice. Jay Bruce takes down low, 1 ball, no strikes. Phillies have the shift on for Jay Bruce. They have Maikel Franco on the right side, along with Cesar Hernandez. Bruce does have 13 home runs career against the Phils, to go along with 10 doubles. Swing and a miss, a little late on that fastball, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. There is career numbers against the Phillies.
One thing about we talk about left-handed hitters, David Bruce is a very good fastball hitter down and in. So if you're going to get it inside, you need to elevate the belt high against him.
Throws a changeup down and away, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike. He's got Devin Mesoraco on deck.
And Jay Bruce is good as well. David Bruce is a good hockey player. He's a buddy of mine.
I knew where you were going with that. I knew there had to be a connection somewhere. He may have swung at ball 4 with a count 3 balls and 1 strike. Were you guys ever extra antsy on opening day? I mean, I would think that you had to be a little bit.
I know getting the first hit of the year just feels like a tremendous weight off your shoulders. You're just looking up there and seeing .000 is never good until you get that first one.
Well, Suarez will be off and running on this pitch with a count 3 balls and 2 strikes and 2 outs in the bottom of the first. Over to left side, Galvis has it. Freddie takes a little extra time, and Howard makes the grab with 1 hand, and the side is retired. 1 run. It was an unearned run. 1 hit and 1 Phillies error. On to the second. 1-0 Reds on top. The home opener brought to you by Nemours. It'll be Monday, April 11th at 3:05 when the Phillies take on the San Diego Padres. All fans coming to the ballpark that day will receive that cap right there. Get your tickets by going to Phillies.com. Hope everybody back home is enjoying opening day as Carlos Ruiz leads it off and he takes outside. Also hope everybody that's watching at the watch party at Xfinity Live is enjoying their afternoon. 2-0 to Ruiz. Sarge is there. Make sure that everybody keeps the hors d'oeuvres away from Sarge. Tommy Green is there.
Wheels.
Wheels is there. Wheels, just watch Sarge. As Carlos lines one to left field, that's going to drop in for a base hit. Milt Thompson is there as well. So hope everybody's enjoying themselves at that watch party. Speaking of watching, Murph, you've been watching these young guys this entire spring. It's pretty interesting to see this roster filled with young players.
You know what, Tom? You're absolutely right, and that is the subject of our Coors Light Cold Hard Fact, brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light. 5 rookies have found their way onto the 25-man roster for the Phillies opening day roster. That's the most in the National League. It's also tied with the Brewers, Dodgers, Padres, and Rockies for most in the National League. Only the Orioles have more guys that are considered rookies on their opening day roster. They have 6. Of course, the opening day roster was set on Sunday. 12 pitchers, 2 catchers, 7 infielders, and 4 outfielders. 3 lefties all coming out of the bullpen. And how about this, guys? 16 new players from opening day a year ago, including 11 of the 12 pitchers. That is amazing, guys.
It's the changing times of the Philadelphia Phils. Here's one of those guys, Cedric Hunter. Cedric, who has gone 482 games between major league appearances, making the opening day roster.
What's up, Murph?
Really? You okay down there?
Yeah, I'm just fine. Thank you.
Keeping you on your toes on opening day. You know, if you were wearing the big puffy jacket, that wouldn't have hurt if it had hit you.
No, I would have just let it hit me at that point.
That's right.
I'm going to have to pull out that big puffy jacket in a minute.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Cedric, 28 years old. And he pulls one down the right field line, foul. Well, we wondered what number Cedric would wear. He was wearing number 64 during the spring when he hit .262 with 3 home runs. His major league number is number 21. And a breaking ball and a called strike 3. Second strikeout for Iglesias.
The slider here by Iglesias.
Boy, it almost looked like he fooled Mesoraco on that pitch.
It's a pretty good pitch.
It was a good pitch. Peter Borges starting in right field. A .241 lifetime hitter during his days with the Angels and the Cardinals. He had a very good spring. The last few games of spring training, his average dipped, but for most of spring training, he was up over 300. He adds a burst of speed to this Phillies lineup.
I believe he's the fastest on the team. I really do. I think he is the fastest runner the Phillies have. He can motor.
Well, there's the fastest guy on the field, Billy Hamilton. You know, it's funny you said that. It's got to be either Borges or Cesar Hernandez, right?
All I can say is if he hits the ball in the gap, Chooch better get on his horse.
He may catch it.
He might get caught by second base or a little bit around second.
Well, the Phillies have added some speed with not only Borges but also Tyler Goodell, who's on the opening day roster. Borges fouls it away. 2 balls, 1 strike.
You see Iglesias drop down a little bit on that heater.
Well, you mentioned the comparisons to El Duque. It's no coincidence that he's wearing number 26. Jeremy Hellickson, who was the only guy on the Phillies roster that saw Iglesias in person last year, said the same thing you said, Ben. He referenced El Duque. 2-2. Defected from Cuba twice, was caught the first time. The second time he was able to establish residency in Haiti. They went through a major league tryout in Mexico before signing the 7-year deal with the Reds. 3 balls, 2 strikes. He was mostly a reliever when he played in the industrial leagues in Cuba, but the Reds felt with the command of his pitches and with how he's able to bounce back from outing to outing that he could be a starter in the major leagues, and it's at least paid off for now. And he's gotten 2 hitters on breaking pitches in this inning. The lefty Hunter and now the righty Peter Borges. There are 2 outs.
Another breaking ball. This feels like he has a better command of that pitch right now. Another very good quality pitch there.
Two away. Freddie Galvis stands in. Galvis last year hit .263, 7 homers, 50 runs batted in.
Iglesias has that little funky delivery, that quick knee. It seems like the ball gets on you a lot quicker than it actually does. We've seen him top out at 91, 92 right there. But the ball explodes out of his hand. And now all of a sudden, now you got to try to think, okay, is he going to be throwing it out of his ear? Is he going to be throwing it 3/4, drop sideways, behind his back?
In the air to right field, Bruce going back toward the track, to the wall. It is gone. A home run for Freddie Galvis. A 2-run shot, and the Phillies take the lead here in the top of the second.
I thought Bruce caught that.
I did too. I really did.
Well, the way he went up and then looked down at his glove.
The exact reason spring training does not what, Matt?
Doesn't mean anything.
Well, Hank Martin of Myerstown, it meant something to you because you just won $100 thanks to the McDonald's home run jackpot.
Way to go, Hank.
I think the other part of it, too, is that Bruce got up so high over that short wall.
Yeah. The only problem is he was about 4 seconds too late at jumping.
Well, that is true after looking at the replay, Matt. Here's Jeremy Hellickson on the outside corner, 1 ball, 1 strike. All right, so the Phils erased the 1-run deficit. They hit a ton of home runs during spring training, and they hit their first home run of the regular season here in the second. 1-2 to Hellickson.
And it clears Jeremy Hellickson. You know, if Freddie would have made an out there, then Jeremy would have been leading off. This is nice to get him out of the way.
And it was a 2-out home run. Just like they did in spring training, a lot of 2-out knocks for base hits, for RBIs.
He went around, and Hellickson won't bother running, so once he leaves the circle, he is out. That's 3 strikeouts in the inning for Iglesias, 4 overall, but he also allowed his first home run of the year. Freddie Galvis, who last year hit 7 home runs, hits his first here in the second inning and his first AB of the season. Boy, he tracked that one beautifully, went down and just got it. We go to the bottom of the second with the for Phillies sports news. The Phillies opener here in Cincinnati. Allen Iverson inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Villanova's eyeing the national championship tonight. And Doug Peterson coaches his first practice with the Eagles. Watch Sportsnet Central tonight at 10 and midnight only on CSN. Hello, Matt Stairs, Ben Davis, and Greg Murphy. I'm Tom McCarthy. Happy to be with you with opening day 2016 from Cincinnati, where the Phillies lead it 2-1 thanks to a 2-run home run by Freddie Galvis. And Devin Mesoraco will be the batter.
Punxsutawney's own Devin Mesoraco.
Did you talk to him before the ball game today?
I did.
When you talk to him tomorrow, ask him if he's ever been to the Punxsutawney Phil ceremonies.
You know, I've been to the library where they keep Phil.
Chopper over to third, fielded on a big hop by Michael Franco. All right, that's great, man. It's not about you. I want to know if he's been at see the groundhog saw shadow or not.
I'm sure he has.
Well, he chops out to third for the first out. Franco trying to keep his hand warm. And here is Adam Duvall. This guy had a fantastic year last year in the minor leagues with the San Francisco Giants, and then was acquired in the Mike Leake trade when Leake went out to San Francisco. He's probably going to be platooning out in left field. Saw his numbers during the spring. He hit over 300. Down low, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Saw some games out in spring training. You know, the Reds are out in Arizona. Just the difference in the scores between the teams in Florida and the scores in the teams in Arizona. I mean,
Much higher in Arizona, you mean?
Yeah, it's. You know, I spent most of my camps in Arizona, but it just seems like I know the ball does travel.
Speaking of the ball traveling, Cedric Hunter will travel back toward the edge of the warning track to make that catch. 2 outs here in the second.
I think the biggest thing from Arizona and Florida is the wind.
Yeah.
There's no wind in Arizona. Florida, you have no idea which way it's going.
And the other thing too is there's the rare occasion, which was 3 years ago. We were talking to Mark Stowe, who's the visiting clubhouse attendant here in Cincinnati, 3 years ago, where they had all that snow in Arizona. That was the only time that could hamper spring training. Iglesias batting 8th, takes a strike in the knees. It's 0-1.
I was with one of my 13 teams, I can't remember, during spring training, and we woke up in Arizona to snow. Take it about 3 hours later, we were playing again, but.
And you thought you were back in New Brunswick.
Oh, trying to find a skidoo.
Reds fans have to get used to the fact that Iglesias and every pitcher will be batting in the number 8 spot, at least for most of this season. That one's back to the box. Hellickson fields it, and he flips to first in time, and the side is retired. Nothing across for the Reds. Nice job by Hellickson after the Phils gave him the lead. We'll head to the third. Question. Log on to Phillies.com. Go to the fans section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, guys, the question is, who was the Reds' winning pitcher the last time the Phillies played them on opening day in 1986? Answer will be revealed a little later on.
I think they give us an easy one to break us in.
I think we're going to start the season off 0-1. 0-1.
Well,
1986?
Yeah. Ben's brother Glenn is probably home watching, so he'll be able to help him out. Here's Cesar Hernandez to lead it off. He shows bunt and misses it. It's 0-1. I kind of like that idea from Cesar. I mean, I know he had a double the last time up, but I think that he can add to his arsenal if he bunts for base hits a little bit more.
Oh, I would agree. If anything, it has your infielders moving around.
And a line drive, base hit into left field, so he's 2 for 2.
Nothing like looking over the scoreboard and seeing 1.000.
Well, and now you have a slugging percentage of 2,000. He has the bragging rights being 2 for 2. Freddie Galvis has the first bomb of the year, 2 RBIs. He has the bragging rights. What a way to start the season. And trust me, you know those characters are having fun with each other right now.
Oh, yes, I would think so.
You don't think Freddie didn't yell over to Mike Counselor, hey, son, that's how you do it.
Or I got one on you.
Yeah.
Today's game is also available in Spanish. Just use the SAP button on your television or change the language through the menu on your cable box.
See.
Murph took Spanish lessons this past offseason, so he knows exactly what you mean, Ben.
Yes. So funny to hear Murph and Scott talk about their homework assignments for Spanish class.
We're putting the time in. We're learning. Did you catch the jug of water down in the dugout today, guys? It said water, H2O, and auga, A-U-G-A. And I was able to pick up on that right away, but that was spelt wrong. So I feel like the classes have gone well.
At some point, we'll have Murph use his Spanish voice as well on the telecast. Hernandez draws the throw. All right, during spring training, Pete talked about guys like Hernandez and Odubel and Peter Borges going early in counts. This is probably a pretty good spot to see if he does that. Yes.
It is, but it's tough too, because you haven't seen what type of move he has, how quick he is.
You're right, he is quick to the plate too.
He's quick.
1 ball and 1 strike to Odubel.
And he's still quick for having a higher leg kick. You see, look at Hellickson's slide step compared to Iglesias. Jeremy pretty much just leans forward. Iglesias has an actual high leg kick, but he does it so quickly that it acts like a slide step.
On the inside corner, and it's 1-2. Take a look at Iglesias' delivery.
See, he has that leg kick, but it is very quick.
He really does emulate El Duque.
Oh yeah.
Odubel struck out his first time up. Get out of the way of that one. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, we sit here and we watch all the hitters all the time. Spring training, starting the season, and Odubel's the one guy, when he has a couple of days off, you notice that his timing is off probably worse than anyone else, because he has that little leg kick. He starts his leg a little late. That pitch right there almost hit him. His front foot was barely down in time. So for him, he needs to see some pitches, because his first at bat, like Ben mentioned earlier, he had some pitches to hit. It's just his timing's off.
Even there, Matt, even though that pitch was inside, he's lucky that it was inside because his foot wasn't down as it was coming in.
Right, it's his reaction. See, his knee his foot's barely getting down, and then he has to get out of the way. So that tells me that one is his timing's off. I would love to see him just go ahead and go to a wider stance with no leg kick and use his hands.
And that's going to make you fly at the baseball.
Runner goes, pitch is lifted in the air to center field. And Hernandez will go back as Billy Hamilton settles under it. One away here in the third.
So what that makes that 92-mile-an-hour fastball look like it's 98.
And moving even more.
Yes.
But he's such a good hitter that probably with that swing there, now he'll be back locked in again.
Well, here's Franco. Franco flied out to the track in left field his only time up. He's 0 for 1. See his numbers across the board last year before Jeremy Hellickson ended his season by hitting him in the wrist. On the inside corner. Franco played 21 games this past offseason in winter ball. We asked him the other day about that, how important that was. He said it was extremely important because he had been taking batting practice but had not played in any games since he broke the bone in his wrist. He said he had to know that he could just go free and easy and swing without any problems. He said that he swung without any problems. He said statistically he wasn't as concerned about the numbers. He had 3 home runs. He said he just wanted to know that he can just let it loose and not have any ill effects from the broken bone in his wrist.
Well, that's the biggest thing is you want to go down there and, yeah, if you succeed, you're happy with it. But it's just a matter of knowing if I get a fastball inside and I can turn on it or get through it pain-free.
Stays alive with the count 0-2. Fouls it back over the screen. And he serves it out to center field, a base hit. Everything was out when open except his hands were back and he was able to make some contacts. And that puts runners on first and second. Now the Phillies will celebrate the Fanatics' birthday on Sunday, April 17th when they take on the Washington Nationals. All kids 14 and under will receive the Fanatic Flare Hair Visor. Tickets can be purchased like everything else by going to Phillies.com.
Tom, you broke that swing down perfect.
Did.
I mean, that was legit.
Come on. Blind squirrel.
The butt wasn't in it, but the heart was.
And that is
paraphrasing what I said, but that is exactly what I said.
That's another example of what you hit with. You hit with your hands.
Exactly.
As long as you keep those things back, you can do some damage.
Ryan Howard grounded out his first time up. Ryan has enjoyed some good days here at Great American Ballpark. He has 11 career home runs, 11 of his 357, including one day when he came out of his sick bed and hit a home run as a pinch hitter and then hit one later on in extra innings.
It's a good day.
That ball comes back. It's 0-2. A little two-seamer that ran back.
Matt and I were talking before the game. I never played here. I played at the old Riverfront Stadium, but Matt was talking about how great a place this is to hit.
It's ridiculous.
I thought I saw you down by the cage, Ben, even though you were in a suit and tie, ready to grab a bat. Inside 1-2. Matt, they've talked about the way the ball travels here, but I've also heard hitters talk about the batter's eye, how that makes it even more inviting to hits. Is that part of it?
Well, you mean that big black thing in center field, which is probably about 125 feet long? I mean, it's tremendous.
Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 5 for Iglesias. Yeah, there are 2 outs for Carlos Ruiz.
Another slider. It's a very tight slider that Iglesias has. And he throws it pretty hard as well.
Yeah, and in about 4 years, he'll throw a 65-mile-an-hour looping curveball, too. If he follows the lines of El Duque. Ruiz singled his only time up.
The very first pitch I ever saw off El Duque at Yankee Stadium, I was able to hit a home run. And, you know, when you hit as many as me, Matt, you tend to remember them. So when you bring up El Duque, that's the first thing I thought of.
Well, one, it's a great name to hit a home run off of. And two, it's a great place to hit a home run at. So, absolutely. Toot your horn. Absolutely.
Few and far between, so I thought I'd throw that out there.
Was it a bomb?
It was a good one.
On the inside corner with a slider, and it's 1-2.
I as well have El Duque in the book.
Yeah.
Yep. Tom?
I do not. Murph, do you have El Duque in the book?
Not yet. I'm working on it.
He is playing softball, I think, today.
It'd be about my only chance.
Broke his bat, foul ball into the seats. The head of the bat went out toward the bottom of the mound. And the count remains 1-2.
Thing exploded.
Backup slider.
It was. Didn't look like he hit it that far down off the handle, did it, Matt?
Well, nowadays, with the way the bats are made.
Especially those maple.
Yeah, if you don't square it right in the middle of the sweet spot.
I asked Danny at work today about maple. I said, what percentage of the guys use maple as opposed to just the ash? He said, I said like 75%. He said, I think more.
Wow. Way outside, 2-2. Danny is the manager of equipment and umpire services for the Phils. He's on this trip with Frank Kopenbarger. 2-2 pitch to Ruiz. He may have just missed that one, and Duvall is going to come under it. He's looking at Cozart, but then he makes the catch. Side is retired. The Phillies have certainly been able to get Iglesias into the stretch today. They have 2 runs to show for it as we go to the bottom of the third. They lead it by 1. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Jefferson. Call 1-800-JEFF now or visit jefferson.edu. By your Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Del Val Honda dealer or visit delvalhondadealers.com. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery. Play Escape to Margaritaville, the new instant game for the Pennsylvania Lottery. Players must be 18 or older to play. A little progress going down the Ohio River. We're at the bottom of the third. Phillies lead it 2-1. Billy Hamilton will lead it off. No, he is not the leadoff hitter in this lineup. He's actually the number 9 batter, who hit .226 last year, had 4 home runs, 28 RBIs, and before a shoulder injury shelled him. He had 57 stolen bases.
So I guess this is the reason why you have the pitcher hit 8th and the position player hitting 9th. Now you're leading off an inning. 9-1-2. You got 2 leadoff hitters and you're 2-hole hitter.
Well, I guess that's part of the thought. Is that curveball somehow missed? It's 2-1. You know, Brian Price, his theory is a lot like Tony La Russa's theory, that if you have your best hitters at the top of your order, when the pitcher's batting 9th, if you have a position like this, they're going to get up with nobody on a lot of times. 2-2.
So that being said, if Joey Votto's your best hitter,
right,
wouldn't you want your best hitters, say, in the 1-2 slot?
Yes, I would say that, but I was just telling you what Brian Price was thinking as Hamilton strikes out. And there's one away. You look at some of the numbers during the course of time. It used to happen back some years ago that the pitcher would bat other than the number 9 spot. When Babe Ruth was playing, or
we're talking Babe Ruth.
Well, I'm saying the history.
We had more home runs one year than in the whole team combined in the league.
Right. So then, as baseball moved on, there were some managers like Casey Stengel and Lou Boudreau. They would bat the pitcher somewhere other than 9th. Then in the 60s and 70s, it only happened 5 times where the pitcher would bat somewhere other than the number 9 spot. In the 80s, it didn't happen at all. The pitcher always batted 9th. Never, not one game did the pitcher bat anywhere but 9th. And then in 1998, it started happening more often. And then Tony La Russa, by the time he was done, he did it 423 times. As Cozart serves one into right field for a base hit. A 1-out single. So he's 2 for 2. And statistically, last year and the year before, according to Baseball Reference, there was no real difference in runs per game for a team that batted a pitcher 8th compared to the teams that batted a pitcher 9th. 3.7 runs per game for one, 3.7118 runs per game for another. So with all that said,
it's just a talking topic for broadcasters.
Correct.
Thanks, Tony.
Eugenio Suarez, who reached on the error by Ryan Howard his first time up for the second time. Inside, 1-0.
Ben, you were right on about Hellickson's slide step.
Mm-hmm.
It is quick.
It is.
Got him out front. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And as a hitter, when you step in the batter's box and you know that Jeremy Hellickson has a very quick move to home with a runner on first base, you feel like you have to cheat a little bit. So you start going a little earlier. Now all of a sudden, if they pull the string and throw a changeup, you're so far out in front of it. That's where it's so hard to read, especially with movement in the hitters. If you have any kind of movement, it's hard to pick the ball up, or it's hard to stay back and recognize it because you feel like you're going to get beat every time.
You just have to really trust your hands and think to yourself, just be quick with those hands.
A lot of times you take the thought process of saying, okay, I'm going to get jammed this at bat. That makes you stay back and then react to it. I wish I would have known this stuff when I played.
It's side. He tried to run that same pitch up against him, and it's 2-2. 89 miles an hour on that fastball. Out towards short. That should be two. Ooh, nice play by Galvis on a tough hop. 6-4-3 double play. And the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and nobody left. Well, this was a nasty hop for Freddie Galvis, and he was able to watch it all the way into his glove. Great feed to Hernandez, and Hellickson is through the first 3 innings. His home run here in the top of the 4th inning. And Cedric Hunter will lead it off. He struck out his only time up. Takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes.
So he struck out his first at bat. The infield played him straight up. Now all of a sudden he goes into the second at bat and he has a shift on him.
Maybe it was that foul ball that he hit down the right field line.
If I recall in spring training, he did a very nice job of staying on off-speed pitches and hitting the ball to left field for base hits.
But that's the pitch that you talked about that he's going to have to continue to adjust to.
Yes.
You know, we know he can hit the fastball, but it's the breaking pitches that he'll have to adjust
exactly.
to.
I don't know if anyone's ready for a 2-0 breaking ball.
Well, that's true too.
Especially with that location.
Yeah.
Because he almost is like a Tony Phillips. The late Tony Phillips, you know, the way he hits. A lot of movement in his hand. He attacks the ball.
Up the third base line, that'll go foul.
A good rep there. Yeah, that number definitely looks a little bit better than the offensive lineman.
I thought maybe he'd keep the offensive lineman just because he had a spring that allowed him to make the team.
Good point.
But if he was given the option, he probably was like, oh yeah, I'll take 21. Had a play.
See, I just find it interesting that you get to 3 balls, 2 strikes, you have the shift on him, and you throw him a fastball low and away.
Which he can shoot the other way.
Which he can shoot that way.
Right. And a strike 3 called. Cedric thought it was ball 4. He was starting to go up to first. That is 6 strikeouts for Iglesias. HP's new series of color LaserJet printers deliver unmatched quality, and their Jet Intelligent Toner cartridges print up to 1/3 more pages. Get yours from who but WB Mason today and experience the difference. Nobody beats WB on HP. 6 strikeouts. Here's Borges, and Borges tips the first one. It's 0-1. Suarez waits for it. 2 outs. And Freddie Galvis is coming up. Well, Freddie, last time up, he brought the lumber. Brought to you by Yellowwood brand pressure treated pine.
Brought the wood all right. Change up down and in. Just like the reach of Bruce and right field. 2-run shot and bragging rights.
Speaking of bragging, my buddy Matt Armentano actually got the home run ball out there. And he's bragging a little bit right now. There is Galvis again, and he takes on the inside corner. It's 0-1.
This is where you'd love to see Freddie hit a line drive to left field. You hit a 2-run homer your first at bat, Freddie, that's great. I applaud that. But don't try and hit this one farther.
Or something hard on the ground. Preferably, like you said, Ben, left field way. Reasoning why is now you get out of that habit of trying to hit the ball in the air.
Towards center field. And Hamilton backpedaling makes the catch. Side is retired. The Phillies go down in order for the first time here this afternoon. So we've completed 3.5 on opening day 2016, and the Phillies have a 2-1 lead.
The beginning of the broadcast. If you want to see a city do opening day right, you got to come to Cincinnati. What a day it was here today. I don't know about you guys, but I woke up about the crack of 10:30, and I looked outside my hotel room, and in Fountain Square across from our hotel, it was packed with Reds fans already. They had a concert going on. They had an autograph session. And then, of course, at 12 o'clock, the parade starts that you're seeing right there, the Findlay Market Parade. The first one was back in 1891, and they've done it for 97 consecutive years. So 97 consecutive years they've had this parade on opening day. Lou Piniella was the master, the grand marshal today, of course, with the team here in 1990. So what an amazing day for Reds fans, and really a terrific way to kick off the baseball season. It was a lot of fun just to be on the outside and kind of watching the fans celebrate baseball back in Cincinnati again.
Well, it's funny because we have not, or at least I haven't been here for an opening day, and for years, this was Major League Baseball's traditional opener in Cincinnati. And because of national television, that changed. There were 3 games yesterday in other cities. But this was, considered a holiday in Cincinnati. And if you saw this city, everything was shut down because
amazing.
Everybody was at the parade.
Yeah, schools were closed. A lot of schools were closed. You mentioned that. How about that? This is the 140th time that Cincinnati has started the baseball season at home with a home game on the home opener. 140 times. Talk about tradition in baseball. The Cincinnati Reds certainly have.
Well, and I thought it was. I thought one of the stories, just looking at the history of openers here in Cincinnati, I thought that the history of it was interesting. The reason Cincinnati always hosted the first National League game is because they were considered one of the southern cities in the National League for so long. And the Washington Senators were considered the southern city in the American League. So they would be the American League opener all the time. It is a shame that that tradition is not continued, but we all understand that with today's world and the dollars that are spent for national television rights, that if you are not a championship team like the Mets or the Royals this year, or even the Pirates and the Cardinals, the Blue Jays who won the American League East last year, they were all part of the opening day of baseball yesterday. But it was Sparky Anderson who termed it a holiday in Cincinnati back in the 70s, and ever since then it basically has become a holiday.
So I'd like someone to explain to me why, though, you play Toronto in Tampa when they both have domes.
The ball's fouled away by Phillips, meaning that there's a lot of other cold weather cities that could start in Toronto. There's the Grand Marshal. 72-year-old Lou Piniella, who one day said, I need a catcher from San Diego to be my catcher in Seattle.
You got Lou here, John McLaren. He was our bench coach in Seattle, and Brian Price, the manager for the Reds, was our pitching coach.
Cesar Hernandez takes care of Brandon Phillips. They're 2 away. Well, the Phillies and the Reds together on opening day. The Reds are 4-3 in the previous 7 games. The last time they faced each other here in Cincinnati was '86.
Who pitched that game?
I'm not going to tell you who pitched that game.
I can tell you who threw for the Phillies for sure.
Jay Bruce will be the batter, and Bruce bunts to the left side, anticipated well by Hellickson, who better hurry the throw, and he does. And the side is retired. Nothing across for Cincinnati. We'll talk more about the shifts against left-handers at some point as this game moves on, because it's been very interesting these first couple of days. And Raisel Iglesias will face Jeremy Hellickson. Should say Raisel. Hellickson struck out his first time up, one of 6 strikeouts for Iglesias. Bill Miller has a very nice pitcher's strike zone today. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but he is really giving the corners.
It's not right.
As long as you're consistent.
It's supposed to be a hitter's umpire, not a pitcher's umpire.
And Hellickson serves one into right center field. That'll be a base hit. Hamilton will cut it off, and Jeremy will hold up at first. Yeah, the man did hit .220 last year. Lifetime .213 hitter.
What's nice that he's just not an out. You have some pitchers that are just, let's be honest, they're pathetic at home plate. I mean, he's not an out. Obviously, with that swing, go down and get that breaking ball.
We're not going to put that list of guys you think that are pathetic up on the screen right now. Cesar Hernandez takes a strike. It's 0-1. Because for some, that might be fighting words. Time is called. Jeremy's going to put his jacket on.
His jacket is not as puffy as Murph's.
I think Jeremy would prefer to wear Murph's jacket. Because if he gets warm, he could take it off and roll it up and put it in his pocket.
Yes, he could.
There's a strike. It's 0-2.
Murph, have the conditions changed a lot down on the field?
The temperature has dropped significantly
Really?
over the last hour. Yes, it really has. And you have no idea how long it took me to blow up this jacket, so let's not knock it, okay?
Yeah, when Matt and I put it on, people are going to think that we blew it up too much. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cesar, who's 2 for 2. Checks his swing. They appeal. No swing. This is Todd Tishner. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Amazing the pace and how drastically it changes when someone gets on base for Raisel Iglesias. I mean, it is noticeable. It's something.
Off the hands, out toward left. Duvall is there.
No, he's not going to hit 1,000 for the year.
No, he's not. And Hellickson goes back to first. Guys, have you ever seen this before, where guys warm up in between innings like this?
I have not. I looked out there. I said, "What is he doing?"
So who was the closer for Baltimore at one time? The Latino. Benitez?
Not Armando Benitez?
Yes, Benitez.
Did he used to do that? I've seen it before. I think, I don't want to say equating him to El Duque, but I think El Duque used to do that at times. Now, the theories are the longer he throws, the easier it is to stretch his arm out. Is that what it is?
Maybe it just, once you get back toeing the slab, maybe it just seems like it's that much closer.
Herrera is struck out. He's also flied to center. 1 ball and 1 strike. Phillies have had a base runner in every inning but the 4th here this afternoon. To the right side. Brandon Phillips flips the second for 1.
Safe.
Not in time. Odubel helping the umpire with his call. 4-6 on the put out at second base. A fielder's choice. Phillies baseball is brought to you by McDonald's. Come into McDonald's for an Egg McMuffin and medium iced coffee for $3.49. And by Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. Here at Great American Ballpark, a spot that opened in 2003. They're enjoying their 14th opening day. Brian Price Had someone from his staff go to the phones to see if Odubel did indeed beat that throw over to first.
He did. Odubel told us that he beat it.
That's exactly right.
Michael had some very big swings in spring training, but when you get down the count, he made the adjustments and shortened up. I mean, there were some swings where his shoulder flew out, his head flew off the ball, but he was able to tighten it back up and get right back to where he needed to be. Love to see those adjustments out of a younger hitter.
That one is straight back in front of us and out of play. 0-2.
And I think one of the home runs he hit in spring training, we talked about pulling the baseballs all the time, was the ball that he hit the right center. I believe we showed it in the open. Was the one I really liked.
Yeah. Watch this. Maikel Franco bonked Mesoraco right on the helmet. Athletic trainer for the Reds coming out to make sure he's okay. Those catchers, they got hard heads. They should be able to handle this.
Well, unfortunately, this will probably come down to where if he has a headache, then he has to go through the concussion.
Yeah, that is right.
Process.
Concussion protocol. Steve Bauman is the athletic trainer for the Reds, and he's out with Brian Price.
Got in between his mask and his helmet.
I don't think it even hit the top of his head, did it?
No, it looked like it hit the side of his face.
Yeah.
And it's the concussion tests that you take in spring training are very extensive. You know, they'll ask you one question, and then you come back later in the test, they ask you another. It's that they have something to gauge it by. If you go back and say you do have those concussion symptoms, you go back and take the test again and see how.
Correct, the baseline.
Yes.
And that's on every level. It looks like he's going to be okay. He's going to go down behind home plate just to catch a few pitches. At least we think he's going to be okay. He missed most of last year, and it's really out of his hands in a lot of ways. He does not want to exit this game.
I talked to Mez before the game and said he's not able to catch every game right now with the condition of his hip after having that surgery last year, but he said he's getting there.
No balls and 2 strikes to Franco.
Great time to try to steal right here. No balls, 2 strikes. Big thing is there's 2 outs. If you get thrown out, still have your best hitter leading off in the 6th inning.
Franco strikes out and the side is retired. Iglesias through 5 innings this afternoon has 7 strikeouts. He allows another hit. We'll go to the bottom of the 5th with the Phils up 1. Citizens Bank minor league reports. And we saw some of these guys during the course of spring training, including Dave Lundquist, who is the new pitching coach at Lehigh Valley. Steve Schrank, who's been in the Phillies organization, as has Aaron Foltz as a player and as a coach. They are the new pitching coaches in Reading and Clearwater as we get set for the minor league seasons to get underway. Citizens Bank. The next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. We start the bottom of the 5th inning. Devin Mesoraco will lead it off against Jeremy Hellickson. Hellickson starts him off with a changeup, but it's no balls and 1 strike. Mesoraco grounded out to third his only time up. He's 0 for 1. Hellickson's allowed 2 hits so far, both to Zach Cozart. He's allowed 1 unearned run. That was back in the 1st inning. Two and 1. Down the left field line, foul. And it's even now, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I would have to say that this is one of the easiest ballparks to play outfield in, I would think, because there's really no nooks and crannies. You look at it, it's pretty, I mean, it's pretty basic all the way around. There's nothing comparatively. You look at Pittsburgh's outfield, and they have all kinds of stuff going on out there.
Do you like it better than Riverfront Stadium?
Yeah.
This being your first visit.
This is my first time here.
Yeah.
Riverfront was a good place to hit, though.
Oh, I guess it was.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Mesoraco. And he pops it up, foul, and out of play. Mesoraco back in 2014 was an all-star. He had 25 home runs. That's why his loss last year, because of the hip injury that required surgery, was so devastating for the Reds. Goes after a changeup, and he is struck out. Strikeout number 4 for Hellickson. And 1 away for Adam Duvall. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you have come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. If you had that app yesterday, you could have seen Francisco Liriano strike out 10 for the Pirates and their victory over the Cardinals, or Chris Archer in the loss to the Jays strike out 12. Royals beat the Mets last night. Boy, how long did those ceremonies go on in Kansas City last night?
We were out having supper, and I said, are they ever going to start this game?
0-1 pitch coming to Duvall. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
Is that your first supper or your second supper?
I was hungry last night, okay?
That is a true story. Over toward the hole, and Galvis gets in front of it. And there are 2 outs. Ever since he dropped that throw in the 1st inning, Ryan Howard has been very different with the way he's stretching for the throws. He's stretching the way he should be stretching. You know, he's gotten into this bad habit over the last handful of years, catching it with 2 hands. Like any other habit, it's hard to break yourself of it. He worked hard at it this spring with Larry Boa, but we've seen it. He's a little more demonstrative when he's stretching on some of these throws.
And enables you to stretch out farther as opposed to just using 2 hands. You can really get out there.
And now these are all basic plays.
Yes.
That was a basic play that he dropped in the first inning too. A 1 pitch to Iglesias. Curveball, and it's 0-2.
Good hook there.
Last year, when Hellickson got 2 strikes, his out pitch, and this is, I think, kind of surprising, was the fastball. Threw it 44% of the time. I would have thought it would have been that pitch right there, or the changeup, because it's a curveball that he throws that he had when he came up to the big leagues when he won the American League Rookie of the Year, but refined thanks to James Shields. And James Shields has very good off-speed pitches, whether it be the curveball or the changeup.
Great changeup.
Breaking ball and a call. Strike 3. 5 strikeouts for Hellickson, who's retired 7 consecutive hitters. It's his second straight 1-2-3 inning. So it's a knee buckler against the pitcher. And he gets through the 5th. We'll head to the 6th with the Phils on top by 1. Philly of the week is coming off a terrific rookie campaign a season ago. Out of the Rule 5 draft and into the Phillies lineup, Odubel Herrera took the bull by the horns and swung his bat with consistency, putting himself among the major league's best rookies in average, hits, doubles, and stolen bases. He also became the first Phillies rookie to achieve 25 doubles and 14 steals since Jimmy Rollins did so 15 years ago. El Torito made a big first impression in 2015. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, Odubel so far in this afternoon's ball game is 0 for 3, but the Phils have a 1-run lead. They have 6 hits. They've had base runners against Iglesias as we begin the top of the 6th inning. First pitch is swung on and missed. It's 0-1. One's pulled foul off the foot of the tarp, and it's 0-2. In the air to right field, Jay Bruce will make the catch, and 1 away. So Ryan is retired. Carlos Ruiz, who's 1 for 2, will be the batter.
Ryan didn't miss that pitch by much.
No, he didn't.
It was just out in front, just a hair.
Carlos hooks it down the left field line. On the run is Duvall, and middle of the warning track makes the catch. Well, these last 2 hitters didn't miss it by much. Yeah, there are 2 outs. Cedric Hunter's coming up. Well, Murphy's 0 for 2 today, but this is still a very special day, and I would think it's going to be a special year for Cedric Hunter.
Well, certainly. Yeah, I think it's the most compelling story to come out of spring training is the emergence of Cedric Hunter and the fact that he is on this opening day roster. Now, it's not the first time that he has been on an opening day roster. He was a third round pick in 2006 by the Padres. He made their opening day roster in 2011, but he had only 5 plate appearances. He had 1 hit during those plate appearances, and then he was sent back down to the minors. I asked him when in spring training did he start to realize that perhaps he was going to be on this roster. He said never. He said he never allowed himself to believe that until they told him, because he didn't want to jinx it, and that makes sense. Now, I told you he only has 1 hit. Well, he had never got that baseball. They put the baseball aside. They were ready to mark it up like they always do for players' first hit. He never got the baseball. Still searching for that next hit, and hopefully they get the baseball out of that one for Cedric Hunter, guys.
That's an amazing story. I read that the other day, and I heard him telling you that too. And it's amazing that nobody was able to find that baseball and present it to him properly. Maybe one day he'll get that opportunity. You buy Toyota. Toyota's hybrid fleet is nothing short of a home run. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Buy W.B. Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. And buy your local Ford stores. It is a sellout here this afternoon in Cincinnati as the Phillies and the Reds open the 2016 season. We move to the bottom of the 6th. And Billy Hamilton shows bunt and takes a strike. Jeremy Hellickson has thrown 65 pitches, 45 strikes, 20 balls. His command has been better than what we even saw in spring training. As that ball is bunted toward the left side, Franco has it, hurries in time.
Great communication. Jeremy came off that mound thinking he was going to field that ball. Michael Franco came in knowing that he had the momentum going towards first base. Very good communication. Not that bad of a bunt. Easy play. Right there you can see the communication. Tell him I got it.
When somebody like Hamilton is running, perfect communication, you need to have it.
Absolutely.
You still have to tell yourself as a fielder not to rush. Because bottom line is you have to catch the ball first.
Well, that's a good point, because if you watch that replay, it was as casual as casual.
There was no panic
for Franco.
Also helps that you have a bazooka attached to your shoulder.
Cozart's 2 for 2, and quickly Hellickson is ahead. No balls and 2 strikes. Jumbo Diaz warming up in the bullpen for the Reds. Reds closer this year will be J.J. Hoover, with Aroldis Chapman being sent over to the Yankees. And it remains no balls and 2 strikes.
It'll be quite the formidable bullpen that the Yankees have once Chapman comes back from his suspension.
They have 1, 2, 3 in the leagues in strikeout last year.
Out of the bullpen.
Of the bullpen.
Yeah. Up and inside. He used to say that when Mariano Rivera was the closer, that it was a 7-inning game basically, because he could throw, you know, certain games he could throw 2 innings at a time. Well, it's shortened even more once those guys get it all back. Line drive, base hit for Cozart. He's 3 for 3. He's going to have his second extra base hit. A double his first time up, a single his second time up, and now a 1-out double here in the 6th inning. He has all 3 hits for the Cincinnati Reds here this afternoon. Well, he settles it at second. It's time now for our Jeep Stump the Fans trivia quiz answer. All right, guys, here we go. Who was the Reds' winning pitcher the last time the Phillies played them on opening day in 1986?
Well, your clue did help at first. Thought it would be Jose Rijo, which would have been wrong, but we go with Mario Soto.
Mario Soto is correct. He went 5 2/3. And Ben, who did he oppose that day?
It had to be lefty.
Steve Carlton. Carlton allowed 7 earned runs in 4 innings of work. Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. Suarez hits one out toward right field. Borges venturing back. Tagging at second is Cozart. And the throw goes to second base as Cozart goes to third. So 2 outs here in the 6th inning.
Talk about bullpens. Nobody had a better bullpen than the Nasty Boys while we're in Cincinnati. Storm and Norman, Norm Charlton, Randall Kay, Randy Myers, and Rob Dibble. Good luck with those 3. All throwing 100.
Charlton did appear in that ball game, by the way, in '86.
Thanks for reminding me. My first 3 at bats was next door at the old stadium. All 3 versus Dibble. My first 3 major league at bats.
Welcome to the big leagues. Did you see any of the pitches?
Yeah, the one that threw behind my head and laughed at me. Still talk about that when I see him once in a while.
Joey Votto has struck out twice today, and he takes low, 1 ball and no strikes. Phillies up 2-1. They scored the 2 runs and the home run by Freddie Galvis in the 2nd. The Reds have 3 hits today, all 3 by the guy over at third base. That's Zach Cozart.
He's gotten Votto twice, and his last at bat, that was one of the ugliest swings you will ever see.
Particularly from him.
It's out of Joey Votto.
James Russell's the lefty. Genmar Gomez is the right-hander for the Phillies. As we get a peek into what Pete Maccannon's thinking as we get to the back end of this ball game. Just a bit outside. He tried to backdoor that breaking pitch, and it's 3-0. Votto last year among the league leaders in intentional walks. And as we mentioned, first in the league in overall walks with 143. Swinging 3-0. He taps it foul.
I don't think he was very happy with that swing. That was almost a contact swing instead of a drive the ball swing. throwing here, Ben?
Throw that cutter in again.
I was thinking that's the one he got him the last 2 times, right? He's got Cozart over third with 2 men down here in the bottom of the 6th. Chokes up even a little bit more with a count 3-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. He threw him a fastball the inside part of the plate. 6 strikeouts for Jeremy Hellickson. He's gotten Joey Votto 3 times this afternoon. This afternoon, 6 innings, and he's allowed 3 hits, all to the leadoff hitter, Zach Cozart, but he's gotten Joey Votto 3 times on strikes.
And these are straight right on it. But he has looked good. Again, able to get himself back in counts with all speed pitches. So to induce a double play there on a tremendous play by Freddie. But he has been on his game today.
All right, so 6 innings so far. He's allowed just the 3 hits, 1 run. It was an unearned run. Time now for your Delaware Valley Honda dealers game summary. You see the Reds scored that unearned run in the 1st inning. Freddie Galvis has given the Phils a 2-1 lead with a 2-run home run, and Cesar Hernandez has 2 of the 6 hits this afternoon for the Phils. Raisel Iglesias is done after 6 innings. He scattered 6 hits, picked up 7 strikeouts along the way, and he'll give way to Jumbo Diaz. Jumbo last year 4.18 ERA. 70 strikeouts in 60 1/3 innings of work.
Big man's got a good arm, fastball 95-98, slider 85-88, and has a very good split finger fastball at 88-91.
Yeah, he was a rookie in 2014. He was one of the oldest rookies at the age of 30. Oldest rookies that year as Borges greets him with a pop-up foul off the first base line and out of play. It's 0-1. Peter Borges is 0 for 2. He struck out looking. He's also grounded out to third. Well, our first look at Raisel Iglesias, he's a pretty good pitcher.
Yeah. Ben was saying he was glad he was out of the game because he looks like he could keep you off balance. He can throw hard. He can throw the off-speed pitches for strikes as well. Good, nice stuff.
To see why they signed him to a 7-year free agent contract when he defected from Cuba.
They backed him off in spring training this year as well. Didn't pitch as much because they wanted him to last longer through the season and remain strong.
Diaz is ready. The 0-2 pitch coming to Peter Borges. And a strike 3 called on the inside part of the plate. Phillies have struck out 8 times here this afternoon. As Borges goes down looking. And Freddie Galvis is coming up.
Well, you said they struck out 8 times, 4 of them looking. which to me tells me that they're thinking way too much with 2 strikes.
Freddie shows bunt, and the ball goes right by Mesoraco. I guess he pulled the bat head back, so it's 1 ball and no strikes. Emmanuel Burris has come out in the on-deck circle, so Hellickson looks like he's done after 79 pitches over 6 innings. Popped up. Third base line, and the shortstop Cozart makes the catch. A reminder that McDonald's opening night will be Tuesday, April 12th, when the Phillies take on the Padres. That's game 2 of that series. It's also a Hatfield Dollar Dog Night, but fans 15 and older not only get a chance to buy themselves a Dollar Dog, but they also get the McDonald's opening night t-shirt. Tickets can be purchased anytime by going to Phillies.com. Phillies fans have made their way here to Cincinnati, some who live in this area and some who have ventured out from the Delaware Valley. Others are back home watching at the Xfinity Live. Hope they're having a great day as Emmanuel Burris makes his Phillies debut.
That's a little surprised that Hellickson's out of the game with just 79 pitches.
I went back to look at some of his spring training numbers. 2 innings, 5 innings, 4 2/3, 4 2/3. I mean, pitch count wise, yes, but game wise, I think we just see this more and more. It doesn't matter, you know, who it is. As Jumbo Diaz makes a nice play and retires Burris. So 1-2-3, top of the 7th. Hellickson's afternoon is complete after 6 innings. He'll leave with a 1-run lead, and we'll go to the Phil's bullpen. Outstanding through 6. A reminder that Turkey Hill Kids opening night will be Saturday, April 16th, when the Phillies take on the Washington Nationals. All kids 14 and older will receive the kids pullover jacket. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. Genmar Gomez in his first appearance this year after going through the entire season last year as a member of the Phillies bullpen. 74 2/3. He had an ERA of 3.01. It was under 3 for a good portion of the year. And this is basically the role he had last season, guys. Bottom in the 7th inning, 8th inning. That's when Genmar would come in. He kind of worked himself into a pivotal role toward the back of the Phillies bullpen. And he's going to be in there for probably 1, possibly 2, if he's quick through this 7th inning. And we were kind of talking during the inning. Ben was asking about Hellickson coming out after 79 pitches. Matt, you brought up an excellent point during the break. Tomorrow's an off day yesterday for a lot of these guys coming out of the bullpen. They won't get a chance to work for a few days because of that.
Right. Well, and I think that's the biggest thing is that, you don't want these guys sitting around for 3 or 4 days without throwing. So you need to go out, even though he was pretty much, I thought he was dominating besides one hitter. He only had thrown 79 pitches.
Right.
Smart move, bringing guys in, keeping the bullpen fresh as well.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Ben. I think he could have gone at least another inning. Particularly the way he's been throwing, the way he was commanding the strike zone.
And he hasn't had very many strenuous innings.
Well, the Phillies bullpen will be asked to get 9 outs. Brandon Phillips will lead it off for the Reds. He's 0 for 2. He swings through the first pitch. It's 0-1. Who will the Phillies closer be if we get to that point? Well, your guess is as good as ours.
It's either heads or tails.
Yeah. And Pete actually said it'll depend on the matchups, but he does not have anybody in mind, at least that he would want to name as the closer as of now. A 1 pitch to Phillips, lays off, and it's 1-1. They do appeal. Tony Randazzo says no swing. Managing on opening day is not lost on Pete Mackanin in the big leagues. This is something that's very special to him, just as it is for the players to be out there for opening day. Particularly in this city, where he had a lot of nice things to say about not only the people in this city where he coached and managed, but also because he was the interim here, did not get the job, and now returns to open the season as the Phillies manager here in Cincinnati. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Interesting with his press conference today. No one asked him the question, are you nervous?
Matt, the microphone was there. You could have asked the question.
That's not my job, no. I was just sitting there for the support.
You were fodder for him. He did say that.
So he threw me under the bus.
Well, yeah. Tapper back toward the mound. Picked up by Ruiz.
There have been some ugly swings here today.
Ben, it's opening day for the hitters, too. Every time the Phillies retire the opposing team 1, 2, 3, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Here's Jay Bruce, who was 0 for 2. Off-speed pitch, and it's 0-1.
And I must say that some of the ugly swings we have seen has nothing to do with opening day and trying too much. It means that your pitchers are making tremendous pitches. Joey Votto has taken some swings that were, I think bat speed's quicker than underwater. So as much as I hate to say it, you got to tip your cap to some pitchers. But early, usually your first at bat, you're wired. Then all of a sudden you calm down a little bit.
Yeah, I would think that's a good way of putting it. I think you're wired. I think your adrenaline is, and you guys alluded to this before, you want to get that 0 off the board to get that first hit. Because there's an off day the next day, and if you don't get a hit or if you make a mistake, it's got to.
You start thinking
about it. 1-2 to Jay Bruce. 1 man down here in the bottom of the 7th. Try to bury him with a changeup, and it's 2-2.
I'd say the players are more anxious than nervous.
Yes.
pulled over toward first, a foul ball. Time to take a look at the Toyota Major League scoreboard. San Francisco became the first team since 1997 to go back to back to back with home runs in a game on opening day. They had 4 home runs backing the pitching of Madison Bumgarner, who didn't need all 4. Just outside, 3-2. Got him. He went after a pitch up in the strike zone. And there are 2 outs.
I know Chooch isn't throwing the ball for these pitchers, but I like what he's done. He's gone in and out, up and down, really mixing a variety of pitches. That's a changeup there. But he has done just an excellent job. You don't see these pitchers shaking him a whole lot, but I like how he's really mixed it up. He's done a very good job of blocking the ball as well today.
First pitch to Mesoraco misses low. It's 1-0.
We were walking in today. I said, Chooch. He said, no helmet today. He goes, no helmet? He said, why? I said, your hair's too bueno. He was laughing.
Popped up left side. Gomez is calling for it. He better get out of the way. Galvis will make the catch. And the side is retired. Excellent job by Genmar Gomez. Reds go down in order, and we'll head to the 8th. The day began where shorts were appropriate. I mean, it was gorgeous out earlier today. Sun was shining. It was great watching batting practice. It has cooled off as we've gotten into the early evening hours here. But the Phils lead it 2-1.
I even had to put Matt's jacket on.
Where is your jacket?
It's in the hotel room.
Oh, okay, good. I thought maybe it was in your pocket, because you can fold it up and put it in your pocket if you need to.
Ask me where my scorecards are.
Cesar Hernandez breaks his bat and loops one over the head of Murph and out of play. Where are your scorecards today, Ben?
In Philadelphia. Matt had all these scorecards made up for me, and I forgot them.
David Hernandez is warming up in the bullpen for the Phils. I think we're getting closer to figuring out if the Phillies have a lead, who would be coming in to close if Hernandez is going to pitch the 8th inning.
For today.
For today. Just for today. That's Tony Cingrani, the left-hander, who's warming up for the Reds. As Cesar takes inside, 1-1. I think you have to be on your toes with Pete this year for a variety of reasons, even when it comes to the batting order, to the top of the order more than anything else. Cesar's leading off today and Odubel's batting second, but there could be a point where they flip-flop, or Freddie bats second and then Odubel leads off. I mean, Pete would probably like to have everything set, but he realizes that it might be a work in progress. Two balls, 2 strikes to Hernandez. Oof. Murph, did you yell heads up to everybody over there as the ball was scorching into the crowd?
I did, but it was about 10 seconds too late, I think. Heads off. Already had found its way. That one came in hot.
That wasn't heads up. That was heads off.
Over to third, and Suarez is up with it. And Cesar's retired. One away. Well, it's time for the debut of the 2016 Major League Notebook. Murph?
It is indeed, Tom. And Tom, I remember you saying this in spring training. We were talking about teams that could surprise. And you said you thought the Mariners could be a team that could surprise, but it all would kind of rely on whether Robinson Cano could kind of have a bounce back year. Well, perhaps he heard you, because on the second pitch that he saw of this season, he homered off of Cole Hamels. Now, it took him 47 games to hit 1 home run a year ago. He gets his first one in pitch number 2. And also Bryce Harper, well, he hit a boatload of home runs last year. He stepped to the plate today in Atlanta to a rain of boos, and he proceeded to hit the first pitch he saw for a home run as well. So he let off that let off his season with a home run as well. So Bryce Harper, guys, just starting right where he left off from a year ago, guys.
Yeah, it's amazing. By the way, Jumbo Diaz just tipped his cap as he left. He got a nice ovation. Why not? It's opening day. Citizens Bank Park, groups of 25 or more take advantage of special opportunities, including discounts, theme nights, party areas, plus plenty of benefits and special options. There's also fundraising opportunities, which is a great way to raise funds and awareness. For more information, go to Phillies.com/group tickets. With one man down here at the top of the 8th inning, Tony Cingrani will be the new pitcher for the Reds. He's on to face Odubel Herrera. Odubel was 0 for 3. He has struck out, flied out, and reached on a fielder's choice. Cingrani's numbers from last year: 39 strikeouts and 33 1/3. First pitch is delivered inside, 1-0.
Cingrani has a very good arm, tops out at 94. Also throws a changeup and a slider. You just saw the first pitch. There's a little pause in his delivery.
You just saw those numbers pop up. That's why Odubel had such a good year last year. He hit .297, but he also, and you guys alluded to this before, he stayed in there against left-handed pitching. And I say that surprisingly, because up until last year he had not played above AA.
The man can just hit.
You dance a little bit too. 2-1.
A couple of these sliders have backed up.
I actually like it right now, him facing a left-hander. You know, if he gets a hit, he gets a hit. But what it does is it makes him stay in there a little longer and see the ball a little better. When you face a right-hander, sometimes you feel so comfortable that you start jumping a little bit too much, or your timing's off a little bit by getting your foot down. But with a left-hander, you have to recognize the pitch and you have to use your hands. Facing lefty on lefty. Now, it might not. He just took a very nice swing. He might not get a knock out of it, but he's probably going to feel a little better going back to the bench or whatever happens.
Takes it a bit low. It's 3-2. This is probably one and done for Cingrani. At least it seems that way. Now there's ball 4. So Odubel has walked. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. And by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Along with Matt Stairs, Ben Davis, Greg Murphy, I'm Tom McCarthy. Happy to be with you from Cincinnati. Opening day 2016. A record crowd on hand today for an opening day. 43,683. Plus, we've got a large contingent of folks who have been watching back home at Xfinity Live. Get a chance to watch some baseball with Sarge and Wheels, and Tommy Green, Milt Thompson. Some of the other Phils alums who have made their way over. Michael Franco's 1 for 3 this afternoon. And he waves at the 0-1 fastball. It's 0-2.
That was one of those swings I alluded to earlier. Just trying to hit it over that bridge in left field.
And Michael is down swinging. And that's the second out. And Darren Ruff will pinch hit for Ryan Howard. Now Darren may not face Cingrani here. In fact, he's not going to. Ross Ohlendorf has been loosening up in the bullpen. So Ohlendorf is going to come on to face Darren Ruff. The way Darren has swung the bat, though, in spring training against right-handers, that doesn't really matter as far as he goes. So we've got another pitching change here in Cincinnati. Top of the 8th inning. The Phillies lead it by 1. They've got a runner on and a pinch hitter due up. For a Hyundai defensive play of the game.
Came back in the 6th inning where Hamilton was trying to lay a bunt down, and Michael Franco did a nice job taking control, making a nice, easy play on a very fast runner getting first base. That is your Hyundai defensive play of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
Well, this has been a very clean ball game except for the error in the first inning by the Phils. The Phils are looking to add to their lead. They're up 2-1, and Ross Ohlendorf will be the new pitcher for the Reds with 2 outs here in the top of the 8th inning. He's on to face Darren Ruff, who's already been introduced as a pinch hitter. Those are Ohlendorf's numbers from a season ago. He actually went to camp with the Kansas City Royals and thought he had a chance to make that club, was let go, and then signed by the Reds. He has been a well-traveled pitcher. So Darren Ruff, who's coming off a solid spring, will be the batter. First pitch fastball is in there. It's 0-1.
We'll see if Ohlendorf pitches the next inning, but he's got the old throwback windup.
As a the windup pitcher, yeah. Here he kind of rocks as a reliever. Whoop. In the dirt, blocked by Mesoraco, and it's 1-1.
Again, Cincinnati with the infield shift. Playing Darren to hit the ball on the ground to the left side and straight away in the outfield.
Outside, 2-1.
There it is. First pitch strike. Right back into a hitter's count, 2-1.
It's all part of what has made this a good spring for him, is that he's gotten himself into good spots. On the outside corner, 2-2. And if anybody ever wondered about whether Pete Mackanin was true to his word that this was going to be a platoon at first base. Now, Darren was probably going to come in for defensive purposes anyway, but there was a lefty that was on the mound, so that's why he was going to pinch hit. Short lead for Odubel. He's back easily.
That 2-1 pitch called a strike, but not one you want to go after. Not a whole lot you can do. That was just a filthy pitch.
And he got him. 94-mile-an-hour fastball from Ross Ohlendorf. The side is retired. No runs, no hits. 1 man left for the Phils. We've played 7.5 on to the bottom of the 8th, with the Phils still holding on to a 1-run lead. Coming up at 10 p.m. Eastern and midnight, a full report not only on the Phillies opener against the Reds, but also a look at Villanova's attempt to capture its 2nd national championship. They'll take on the University of North Carolina a little later on. Allen Iverson also has been named to the Basketball Hall of Fame. No more, know a lot, know it all. Watch Chevrolet Sportsnet Central. Darren Ruff does indeed stay in the ball game to play first base. And the new pitcher for the Phils is right-hander David Hernandez. Hernandez will take over for Genmar Gomez. See his numbers from a season ago. Hernandez will face Adam Duvall. The pitcher's spot. Scott Schebler's out in the on-deck circle. And then the number 9 spot, that's Billy Hamilton, here in the bottom of the 8th inning. There's Schebler. Duvall today is 0 for 2. He's flied to left. He's also grounded to shortstop. Nice 7th inning for Genmar Gomez. 1 inning, 1 strikeout.
On just 14 pitches.
Outside, 1-1. David Hernandez now 30 years old. Originally was a 16th round selection by the Baltimore Orioles. Last year was with the Arizona Diamondbacks. In fact, spent the last 4 years, or 5 years I should say, with the Diamondbacks. Did not pitch in 2014, coming back from injury. He saved 11 games in 2011 with the Diamondbacks. On the inside corner, and it's 2-2.
Not where Chooch wanted it, but it was a strike.
That's part of what the Phillies, that's what Hernandez was battling during the course of spring training, was the command of his fastball. He even acknowledged that.
It's one thing that really was a pet peeve of mine when I would set up an umpire's pitcher wouldn't hit a spot, but it ended up being a strike regardless, just like that pitch was with Chooch, and the umpire wouldn't call it. I said, it's still a good pitch. So we weren't set up there.
There's ball 4. So that is the first walk of the day issued by Phillies pitching. It's only the second base runner for the Reds since the 3rd. So Schebler will come on to bat, and Tyler Holt will go over to pinch run for Duvall. Holt and Duvall will kind of have a platoon going in the outfield for the Reds. Murph gave that story before about the Phils having all these young guys on their opening day roster. The Reds are kind of in the same boat. In the dirt, backhanded by Ruiz.
Good hands by Chooch. Like David just seeming to overpower the baseball right now. Not very fluid out there on the mound.
Well, some of the additions to the Reds roster this year, Schebler, Simon re-added to the roster after spending the year with the Detroit Tigers. J.C. Ramirez, former Phil. Swing and a miss. Schebler was part of the 3-way trade with the White Sox and the Dodgers, where Todd Frazier went to the White Sox. Schebler came over to the Reds. Former 26th round pick of the Dodgers, who last year was in the big leagues with the Dodgers for 19 games at the age of 24. Fouls it back to the screen. It's 1-2.
Couple big swings there by Schebler.
Yeah, this at bat began with Franco in on the grass at third, thinking that they might try to bunt the runner up to second. I don't think that even crossed Schebler's mind.
No.
Not with those hacks.
No, and actually the swing before that, ball was down the zone. That one he climbed the ladder a little higher. Might as well go a little higher. Or you could. That's an option.
Breaking ball, and it's 2-2. Almost got him to go off at it. Over to first, over the head of Darren Ruff down the right field line. Holtz on his way to third. Up to second is Schebler. It's a pinch hit double. Runners on second and third with nobody out.
Absolutely nothing Darren Ruff could do about this. Unless he was about 15 feet taller. Ball just bounces right in front of the plate and right over Darren Ruff's head. Now you have second and third, nobody out.
Well, that's only the fourth hit of the day and the first one from somebody other than Zach Cozart. So now Billy Hamilton will be the batter. You've got to be leery of the squeeze here with Hamilton. Now he's not only bunting to get the run home from third, but he's also bunting to get on base.
And to get the runner from second to third as well.
Yep. He has struck out. He's grounded out. The ground out was on a bunt attempt. Franco is in at third. The rest of the infield not all the way in, but they're creeping. And a breaking ball, and it's 1-0. This is kind of a carryover for Hernandez from spring training into the regular season, at least in this initial outing.
Maybe if Billy were to lay one down, he'd try and bring it with him to the right side of the diamond.
Yeah, he's going to try to get the job done, but he's also going to try to get himself a base hit. And as Matt said, get the runner over to third. Outside, 2-1. Zach Cozart's 3 for 3 this afternoon in the on-deck circle. Yeah, there's ball 4. Pretty close pitch, but it's the second walk of the inning by Hernandez, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. PHI AT CIN heading out to the mound. And he has signaled to the bullpen, so the Phillies will dip back into the pen. And it will be James Russell who's coming in. So a pitching change with the bases loaded. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 8th. The Phils lead the Reds by 1. Delivery of the game. Freddie Galvis has given the Phils a 2-1 lead. It's his first home run of the year.
Gets a changeup down and drives it out to right field, where Tommy's buddy catches the ball. But it was nice to see Freddie Galvis there, and that is your Yellowwood bringing the lumber.
So 2-1, Phillies on top. Yeah, the bases are now loaded. Zach Cozart's coming up. David Hernandez is done for the day. His line, though, is not complete. James Russell will be brought on. Russell coming into a little bit of a pickle here, gentlemen. Phillies will play the infield in, not all the way. This is where the middle infielders will make a decision. If the ball's hit sharp enough, they might come home. Otherwise, they'll probably try to turn 2 and get some outs, up by 1. Pitching has been excellent for the Phils. At least it was for the first 7 innings. Jeremy Hellickson went 6, allowed 1 unearned run on 3 hits. And then Jenmar Gomez pitched a scoreless 7th, but now a little bit of a predicament here in the 8th. Fly ball, shallow right field. Borges comes dancing in, tagging from 3rd. And the throw to the plate off the glove of Carlos Ruiz. And Holt will score the tying run. It's a 2-2 ball game.
Exactly why he was brought into this ball game. Use his wheels. Really a good throw there by Peter Borges in right field.
An excellent base running by the other 2 guys that were on base, because they were able to move up a bag. Schebler from 2nd, Hamilton from 1st.
And it's smart on their part, because they knew there was the ball being hit as shallow as it was. They knew there was going to be a play at home plate. So they themselves were able to advance to 2nd and to 3rd.
So a sac fly. Cozart's been the star today. And here is Suarez with runners on 2nd and 3rd. Schebler's at 3rd. Hamilton's at 2nd. The infield is in. First pitch is in there. It's 0-1. Suarez thought that was a little low. One ball and 1 strike.
Big old swing with the man on second and 3rd.
It was so big it made him look late when it was cut when he went through.
See right here, he geared up. That's what you just call just turn and burn. Well, there's no need to in this situation. You have 2nd and 3rd. Bottom line is you want to use the big part of the ballpark. He was trying to hit a 3-run home run there with that type of swing.
Ruiz blocks the 1-2 pitch. It evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Schebler, the pitch hitter who doubled on a chopper up the first base line, is over at 3rd base. Billy Hamilton's at 2nd base. And now the 2-2 pitch coming. Outside 3-2 with Votto on deck.
We know about the speed of Hamilton at 2nd, but Schebler in that double, I was very impressed with how fast he got to 2nd base. Moving.
And by watching his secondary at 3rd, it doesn't look like he's going on contact.
No, he's pretty short. You're right. Ball 4, and that'll load the bases up. That's the 3rd walk of the inning issued by the Phils pitchers. And Joey Votto will bat with the bases loaded.
All right, Bo, you see there telling the infielders to stay at 3 depth. 3 depth is basically you're in far enough where you can cut the run down at second base. I mean, cut the run down at home plate, but if it's hit sharply enough, you can still turn 2 up the middle. You see those middle infielders retreating a bit.
Votto has struck out 3 times today. Just a bit outside, 1 ball, no strikes.
Game is going on, he seems to be getting farther into a squat. Joey Votto.
Yeah, he's stretching out a little bit more.
Stretching out and getting lower.
And a looper into left center field, a base hit. 2 runs will score. It's bobbled by Herrera for a moment. And the Reds take the lead. They've scored 3 runs in the inning. They lead it 4-2.
Nobody feels better than that man right there after his 3 punch-outs today.
And there comes PHI AT CIN, and that's going to be it for James Russell. Phillies will go back to the bullpen. Hector Neris had been warming up. So did Daniel Stumpf. I'm assuming they'll go to the right-hander with Brandon Phillips due up. The inning is unraveled for the Phils. Here in the 8th, they've allowed 3 runs. There's still 1 man down with runners on first and second. And we will step aside and be back with Hector Neris coming in. This will be their 3rd pitcher of the inning. Hector Neris is on. Neris last year 2-2, an ERA of 3.79. And he's on to face Brandon Phillips. Phillips will bat with runners on first and second. Joey Votto, a 2-run single in the inning. That followed a sac fly by Zach Cozart. So Neris is going to try to get through this 8th inning, give the Phils a chance at the top of the 9th against probably J.J. Hoover. That's who Brian Price has said will be the closer for Cincinnati. The runners lead off first and second.
Stop the bleeding here. Roll a double play. Get back in and see if he can tie this thing up or go up 1.
Well, that'd be a great scenario. Phillips takes inside, 1 ball and no strikes. Brandon Phillips came into this ball game with 1,703 career hits. He is still signed by the Reds through next year. It's part of the reason why they were looking to trade him, to get rid of some of his money. Check swing, foul ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. He was looking for his 18 option to be picked up.
And still as good as anybody at second base.
Swing and a miss, 1-2. Good changeup. Flied out to center, popped out to second. Hit a little dribbler in front of the plate. And that got a piece of him, so that's going to load the bases up.
Oh, there's a splitter that got away from Hector Neris there.
So 3 walks and now a hit batter in the inning. And it'll bring Jay Bruce to the plate with the bases loaded. First 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. The 8th inning here, 2 hits, 3 walks, 3 runs. And now the Phillies have to play the infield in with Jay Bruce up. Bruce is 0 for 3. He's grounded out twice and struck out. Throw him a change up. And it's 0-1. First 6 innings, Hellickson struck out 6, allowed just the 3 hits to Cozart. And then Genmar pitched a clean 7th inning.
And this big inning started with the dreaded leadoff walk.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a basic thing, but the free passes come back and haunt you more often than not. 3 walks and a hit batter in this inning.
Well, especially when you're up by 1,
right?
And you have the leadoff walk, followed by the chopper off a home plate into right field.
Now the 0-2 pitch up high off the glove of Ruiz, just squirts a little bit. Now that's 1-2.
You're right, though. When you're only up by 1 run and you walk the leadoff man, you're almost inviting a big inning.
You figured he was going to throw the changeup there, and he did, and it was a good one.
Got lucky on that one. That was actually a pretty good pitch to hit. Throw the split finger and bounce it right behind home plate. Or attempt to.
And a line drive, base hit it to center field. 1 run is in. Votto's being waved home. It's kicked by Odubel. 2 runs will score. Bruce goes to second. It's dropped by Hernandez. Phillips is coming home. The throw to the plate. He is out at home plate. It's 6-2 Cincinnati. Well, I guess it was wishful thinking that the Phillies would be able to quiet the middle of this Reds order for the entire game. Votto a 2-run single, Bruce a 2-run single.
It's an off-speed pitch up in the zone. Bruce was getting his timing down. Every pitch he was seeing, he drives this one. Hernandez kind of peeks a little bit before he feels it. And they got a little sloppy right there, and then thankfully Freddie was standing there.
Well, they do charge an error to Odubel to allow the runners to move, or at least Bruce to move to second base. So a single, E8, 2 RBIs. And now 9 men have come to the plate in the inning for the Reds, with Bruce at second base and Mesoraco at the plate. A 5-run 8th inning for Cincinnati.
Yeah, that play sloppy all the way around. Starting with Odubel, but then the throw into second, and then Brandon Phillips. Sloppy on his part. He was thrown out by 10 feet.
Fly ball left field, playable for Cedric Hunter. And the inning is over. However, the Reds score 5 runs in the inning. They do so with 3 base hits, but there were 3 walks and a hit batter. Last chance for the Phils as we go to the 9th. It's 6-2 Cincinnati on top. Former pros Ricky Bottalico and Tommy Green are breaking down the Phillies' opening day performance against the Reds on Cure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Post-Game Live. Now we go to the top of the 9th inning. The Phillies had a 1-run lead in the bottom of the 8th, but now they trail it by 4. 5-run inning for the Reds, and J.J. Hoover is on. Tyler Holt will stay in the ball game. Holt came on to pinch run in the 8th inning and wound up scoring a run. So Hoover last year had 1 save. He is the Reds closer now that Aroldis Chapman is over with the Yankees. This is not a save situation, however, but he was all warmed up and ready to go. And they figured, just like everybody else, the off day tomorrow, get him in and see if he can close out a victory as Carlos Ruiz takes high. It's 1-0. It'll be Ruiz, Cedric Hunter, and Peter Borges. One ball, 1 strike.
That's a long inning to catch for Chooch, and then they have to come up and lead off.
Always looking out for the catchers.
I always am, Tom.
Carlos fouls it away. It's 2-2.
He's had some really good swings today. He hit a bullet his first at bat. Flew out to left twice. But this last time up, he really had a good swing. Just caught the bottom of the baseball.
Out toward left field. Holt going back on it. And now coming in, he dives, and did he catch it? He did. He hung on. It's a fair ball, and he's able to hang on. 1 away here in the 9th inning.
That ain't right. Holt very animated.
He's got a lot of emotion to him. Oh,
it's a great play right there.
It really is.
It's a long run. Good timing. Would have been fair.
Yeah, the third base umpire, Todd Tishner, called it fair. Didn't call him out. Took him some time to make sure that he actually hung on. As Cedric Hunter takes a strike, it's 0-1.
It's an excellent play.
Cedric today is 0 for 3. He struck out a couple times and grounded out. And he lines it foul, and it's quickly no balls and 2 strikes. Phillies are trying to end a 4-game losing streak here on opening day. Up high. Off day tomorrow, and then Wednesday night the Phils are back here in Cincinnati. Aaron Nola will be on the mound for the Phillies. 2-2 pitch to Hunter. Fouled it away over the third base dugout, now to play, and it remains 2-2.
Good take. Tough pitch to lay off there, 2-2. That hard slider down and into a left-hander.
Yeah, he seems to have had a bunch of those here today. That one's out toward right center field. On the run is Hamilton. He dives and he made the catch. The Reds outfielders have robbed the Phillies hitters to start the top of the 9th inning with the first 2 plays. A diving play by Holton left, and now a diving play after a burst of speed by Billy Hamilton in center.
I thought that when that ball was first hit, he had no chance of catching that ball. He was playing a little opposite field. Tremendous jump. Another very nice play.
He gets up right away, looks at Holt saying, anything you can do, I can do better.
Here's Peter Borges, and Borges whacks the first pitch foul off the home plate umpire. It's 0-1. Well, I guess Jay Bruce is out in the right field thinking the next one's coming to him. In fact, I think Brandon Phillips already said that to him after Hamilton threw the ball in. Borges this afternoon is 0 for 3. He struck out twice, and it's 0-2. Phillies got a great performance today from Jeremy Hellickson, who allowed an unearned run in 6 innings. The 1-2 pitch to Borges. Off the end of the bat, over to first. Joey Votto's got it, and the Cincinnati Reds have won the opener of the 2016 season by a final score of 6-2 as they score 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to come from behind and win it 6-2. Up until that 8th inning, it was only Zach Cozart who had hits for the Reds. He had 3 hits, 2 doubles and a single. Well, he contributed in that 8th inning with a sacrifice fly, but Joey Votto had a 2-run single, and Jay Bruce had a 2-run single as well for Cincinnati. Again, the Reds come from behind and they win it 6-2. So game 1 of the 2016 season goes to Cincinnati. We'll be back to Great American Ballpark to wrap things up right after this.